social respect, and life upliftment are our goals.
In 2022, celebrating 25 years of service, the Foundation's gathering of 400 global leaders proved that what began as one mother's courage had become a worldwide movement.
My dear Raj and dear Veena, my lords and ladies and gentlemen, it's a huge privilege and honor to be with you here tonight. So Raj's mother was left a widow. And as Raj has often said, he was aware right from the very moment that his father died that his mother was treated in a different way, often as a second-class citizen, often not really permitted to play a full part, somewhat stigmatized, somewhat downgraded. And he was determined to do something about that. So when he became successful, he put something back. He started the Loomba Foundation. And then he went on this amazing journey where he built it over time. He got to know Cherie. Together they campaigned for this International Widows' Day. I remember when Cherie told me about it, actually, in 2005, she said, I want to get the United Nations to create a new day, especially for widows. I said to her, darling, it's never going to happen. It's the UN, right? You might as well get a tortoise to do a sprint. It's just not going to happen. But it did happen. It happened because they came together, combined together. I could have told the UN Secretary General, after 42 years of marriage, it's actually easier to say yes to my wife. It just saves a lot of time. Anyway, eventually he did. And now it's the 23rd of June. It's an International Women's Day. How many people have ever achieved anything like that? Raj, you are absolutely amazing. This is a great, great achievement of which you should be so proud.
Thank you, dignitaries.
Efforts have not only raised global awareness about the challenges faced by widows, but have also empowered thousands of women with education, skills, and opportunities to rebuild their lives with dignity and independence. Supporting widows is not just about addressing vulnerability, though. It's about restoring agency.
Once separated from society, once abandoned by their own loved ones, these are the mothers whose lives were filled only with loneliness. But one man decided to break this silence. His name was Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, who, through Sulabh, started a unique movement to restore dignity and give hope to widowed mothers. Vrindavan, Varanasi, Uttarakhand, and Bihar, places where these mothers were once isolated from society. Today, they are learning to live again with dignity and self-respect. And now, carrying this torch of service forward is Dr. Pathak's daughter-in-law, Mrs. Nitya Pathak. As Nitya Pathak says that this is not just service. This is not just service, this is my family. The smiles on these mothers' faces are my greatest strength. Where once there was a distance from colors, today the colors of Holi are filling these lives with happiness and a new beginning. The light of Diwali no longer shines only in homes. It now illuminates hearts as well. On Raksha Bandhan, the bonds of relationships are being restored once again. As widowed mothers now says that earlier we were alone. Earlier we were alone. Now Sulabh is our home. And Nitya daughter is one of our own. Today, thousands of widowed mothers have become a part of Sulabh family, living their lives with dignity and confidence. This is not just rehabilitation. This is a new identity, a new beginning. Sulabh, a step towards dignity, self-respect and a new life. As Nitya Pathak says that as long as every mother in society receives the respect she deserves, our efforts will continue.
Hello everyone, I am Mrs. Nitya Pathak, Executive Convener of Sulabh International. And first and foremost, I extend my respectful greetings to all of you. Miss Helen Sylvester, Miss B. Tyagarajan, Mr. Sanjeev Khanna, Mr. Simu Jindal ji, Mrs. Lakshmi Puri ji, Lieutenant General Ranjit Singh ji, Mr. Amit Chaudhary ji, distinguished representative of the Loomba Foundation, my dear mothers and sisters, my respectful greetings to all of you. Today, on the occasion of International Women's Widows Day, we have gathered to pay tribute to the courage, resilience and dignity of millions of women who, despite facing life's most difficult circumstances, have never given us hope or lost their determination. माता जी, आप लोगों के लिए भी मैं कुछ बोलना चाहती हूँ कि आज आप लोग इतनी दूर दूर से आए हैं वृंदावन से, जो सुलभ की हमारा परिवार है ये माता जी सारी। तो जब भी मैं इनसे मिलती हूँ तो लगता है मतलब अपनी माँ से मिल रही हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने अपनी नानी माँ को देखा है 40 साल की उम्र में विधवा बनते हुए। तो वो दृश्य जो है मेरी आंखों के सामने आज भी मेरे रोंगटे खड़े कर देता है। तो आप सबको नमस्कार है कि आप लोग आज भी इतना जीवन खुशी से और अच्छे से जी रहे हैं। On this occasion, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of Lord Raj Loomba, founder of the Loomba Foundation. His vision and dedication have inspired a significant global movement advocating for the rights and welfare of widowed women across the world. Sulabh International is proud to work in partnership with the Loomba Foundation in Bihar and Punjab, continuously supporting widowed women through initiatives that promote dignity, skill development and self-resilience. My father-in-law, Dr. Videshwar Pathak, the founder of Sulabh International Family, believed that sanitation, dignity and human respect are fundamental rights of every individual. Guided by this vision, Sulabh has worked tirelessly to bring thousands of widows, mothers into the social mainstream in Vrindavan, Varanasi, Uttarakhand, Punjab and Bihar. Today I salute all widowed mothers and sisters. Your courage, strength and perseverance are a source of inspiration for all of us. आप लोगों की जर्नी वृंदावन में मैंने डॉक्टर राज लुम्बा फाउंडेशन के द्वारा, जो हमारी माता जी हैं, उनकी जर्नी मैंने सुनी थी और वो बहुत ही छवि माँ हैं जिन्होंने अपनी जर्नी सुनाई थी, जो अभी खड़ी हैं। तो उन्होंने अपना बताया था पूरा कि कैसे वो हमारे साथ किन हालातों में जुड़ी, तो इन सारी माता जी के लिए मुझे दिल से ऐसा ही लगता है कि ये मेरी माँ हैं और ये प्यार भी उसी तरीके से देती हैं और ज़िंदगी भर मुझे इनका प्यार मिलता रहे, यही कामना करती हूँ। I would like to conclude with the words of Dr. Bendeshwar Pathak. The noblest form of human service is to restore a person's dignity. With this commitment, let us move forward together towards building a more compassionate, just and respectful society. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Radhe Radhe.
Namaskar and good evening to everyone. To the distinguished dignitaries on the dais and to all of you who have gathered here to commemorate, to celebrate International Widows Empowerment Day, because that is what it is. और आज आप सब जो माताएं और बहनें आई हैं, जिनको कईयों को मैं वृंदावन में भी मिल चुकी हूँ, उन सबको मेरी ओर से आज अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विधवा दिवस, विधवा सशक्तिकरण दिवस के अवसर पर आप सबको अभिनंदन और आप सबका नारी शक्ति के लिए जो आप कर रही हैं उसके लिए मैं आपको नमन करती हूँ और बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन भी करती हूँ। It's a privilege to join you. Right at the beginning, we saw a video in which Mr. Tony Blair said that it is almost impossible to have a resolution passed of the kind that would strengthen woman power and widow power. And I was smiling to myself because yes, getting that UNGA resolution was a big achievement. It was a long struggle, big achievement, but that is what the UN is there for. And the UN, by creating UN Women in 2011, which focuses on the empowerment of women and gender equality, already laid the path for addressing specific aspects of that whole gamut, that universe of issues and target groups. And widows are definitely one of those important intersectionalities. I would say that when we talk about widows, they are part of the larger global project for gender equality and women's empowerment. And they face compounded discrimination. They are, as was mentioned, either they are, because of widowhood, they are disempowered in several ways, but they may already be poor, they may be in remote areas, they may come from communities which are very patriarchal in there and where harmful customs are followed. So that is what this resolution, and I'm so happy to hear about the Declaration of the Human Rights of Widows that is being, just as we speak, being adopted. But also that resolution was, as has been acknowledged by everyone, the vision and the passion and commitment of one man, Lord Loomba, but also I would recognize Lady Loomba, who has been his strong support. And I'm also here for two reasons. One, because at that time I was with the UN Women and worked very closely after the adoption to make sure that UN Women works with the Loomba Foundation to drive projects on the ground. And we did pilot, what I called lighthouse projects in Africa, in Latin America, and in Asia, so that what we talk about rights, but they have to be implemented on the ground. They have to be made a reality on the ground. And the other reason is, of course, my husband Hardeep Singh Puri, who is also the Minister for Oil and Petroleum. He was very much instrumental at that time in piloting this resolution with, of course, the UK delegation, but many other ambassadors that he mobilized. I remember the South Africans, the many others. And at that time, it was so wonderful because, as was being mentioned, every family, I heard about, what Mr. Tyagarajan talked about, his own experience. Everyone came forward and said, we want to support this because we have seen it in our families. So everyone felt an empathy to support this resolution. Now, I want to also say that, we talk about the harmful practices and customs, and very wrongly we say that these are what our Shastras say or what our tradition says. And I want to dispute that very strongly. And I want, on this International Widows' Day, to make the point that, on the contrary, if you go back to our Vedas, whether it is Rig Veda or Atharva Veda, the two Vedas, but also all our Shastras, are very empowering to women. And let me quote. उद्दिश्वर नार्य भी जीवलोकम गता सुमेत मुप शेष एहि. Its message is clear. Rise, return to the world of the living and reclaim life. And the Atharva Veda says, this is the Rig Veda, and then the Atharva Veda says that you must make woman inviolable. And what is inviolable? That's a very potent concept. Is that it's something, her dignity must never be broken. It should never be infringed and dishonored. So that is the message that we have got. मैं ये कह रही थी कि हम लोगों को कहा जाता है कि शास्त्रों में कहा है कि अरे विधवा जो होती है अशुभ होती है, ये होता है, उनको अलग रहना चाहिए. ये बिल्कुल गलत है. मैं अभी कह रही थी कि वेदों में हमारे कहा गया है कि विधवाओं का सम्मान करना चाहिए और उनको पूरा हक है कि वो अपने जीवन को अपने पूरी तरह से जिए. तो ये हम लोगों को हमारे समाज में इसको बहुत बहुत दृढ़ता से इस मैसेज को फैलाने की जरूरत है. I want to say a few words about the Loomba Foundation's impact. The strength of the Loomba Foundation lies in combining global advocacy with action on the ground. And since its launch in India in 1999 by the then Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the foundation has helped educate over 10,000 children of widows and supported more than 24,000 widows across India. And of course, some of them are here, some of the Labhartis, but also those who are empowered themselves and are helping others now because they have been empowered. And I would also very much like to say that the stories of resilience today are the heart of this gathering, because data gives us scale, but stories give us meaning. And we have heard how Sulabh International, the CII, and you yourself, particularly, I mean, that's one intersectionality, the differently abled people, women and widows, how they intersect on this. I think it's very, very important to bring in all those stories. So way forward, widow empowerment and must rest on 5 essentials of dignity, security, health, self-reliance and social acceptance. Widow needs livelihood, but she also needs respect. She needs opportunity, but needs belonging. And India's journey of women-led development, including nearly 100 million women in self-help groups. I think self-help is also the key to widow empowerment as much as it is of women's empowerment more generally and women-led development more generally. And widows and the recognition that widows are not the victims, only the victim of circumstances. They are mothers, as was mentioned, caregivers, workers, entrepreneurs, community anchors, and leaders. And आप सब वही हैं, आप लीडर हैं, आप माएँ हैं, आपने बहुत कुछ किया समाज के लिए, अपने लिए तो किया लेकिन समाज के लिए भी किया. Let widows not be pitied but protected, not forgotten but fully included. Let us work for a world in which widowhood is not a sentence to suffering, but a transition supported by rights, respect and recognition, a world in which no woman is punished further than just for outliving her husband. Thank you.
Our commitment to justice, dignity, and opportunity for widows. International Widows' Day reminds us that behind every statistic is a woman rebuilding her life while carrying the responsibility of supporting her family. Widowhood is not simply a personal loss, it is often an economic and social turning point that can push households deeper into vulnerability. Over the years, our collective understanding of widowhood has steadily evolved. Today, the conversation extends far beyond charity and welfare to one centered on justice, the dignity, rights, the economic empowerment. This year's theme, Justice, Dignity and Economic Power for Widows, reinforces that continuing commitment and calls for sustained action to translate these principles into meaningful opportunities for widows everywhere. This event also reminds me of my own childhood. I was born in 1957. Tamil Brahmin family, and my mother lost her husband, or I lost my father when I was 11 years old. That was 1968. And those days, the widows or Tamil Brahmin widows are not supposed to come out of home for 1 year. They must be confined to the house. Me and my siblings, 4 of them, will have to be looked after. My mother sought a job as a teacher and had to work. We all used to live in the Brahmin community. It's a gated community equivalent to those days. It was known in Tamil language as agraharams. And if you are violating the Tamil Brahmin principles, you are not supposed to live there. So there was a pressure for the family whether we are entitled to live there if my mother is going to come out of the house after the loss of her husband for 1 year. And she did that. She was rejected by the community for some point of time, but after that it was accepted. But the days have changed. I don't think those principles are anymore followed these days. But it was a painful period. There are 7-8 years I would have closely interacted with her. I was not an extrovert. I was confined to home. There are 2 things she left for me, which till date is a treasure to me. One is reading. So you talked about it, about British Council's own actions and the work that you all do. And the second thing is cooking. So I am confined to my kitchen on the weekends, and these 2 are the ones she left for me. And her single-minded pursuit at that point of time was to educate us and to see us through. But unfortunately, the day I graduated, she passed away, and she didn't see me taking up my first job. But when I was told by Sunil that there is an event on this day that I would request you to participate, I readily agreed for this simple reason. I didn't tell him why I am willing to come over, changing my schedule. In fact, I was supposed to be in the US, returning day after tomorrow. I advanced it for participating in this event, and it is indeed a privilege. God also blesses me in a number of ways, and it is a privilege for me to work for CAI on a number of initiatives like the CSR or skills, which I enjoy doing so. So India is home to one of the world's largest population of widowed women. While many continue to face barriers to livelihoods, financial security and social inclusion, they also represent an enormous reservoir of resilience, capability, and untapped potential. The challenge before us is not one of capacity, but of access to opportunity. Building a strong economic opportunity and dismantling of social stigma are the key enablers for empowering widows. When widows have access to livelihoods, financial services, skills training, and entrepreneurship opportunities, entire families and the communities benefit. Empowered widows invest in the education, health, and well-being of their children and communities. Increasing the economic participation is one of the most effective ways to strengthen household resilience and contribute to national growth. Having said that, the greater barrier is often not economic, it is social, which you referred to in your opening remarks. Widowhood is a life circumstance, not an identity that should define women's worth or potential. And the changing mandate would require combined efforts of government, industry, civil society, communities, and families. Widows are often viewed through the lens of vulnerability and loss. It is time to change that narrative. Widows are entrepreneurs, caregivers, farmers, workers, professionals, and community leaders, and therefore they play an important role in the economic development of a nation. The International Widows' Day serves as a reminder that we need to move beyond sympathy to empowerment, from charity to opportunity, from exclusion to inclusion. As CII, we are deeply committed to the empowerment of women. CII has set up Center of Women Leadership with the mission to catalyze innovative ideas and solutions amongst all stakeholders in India and globally to enable women to participate and grow and lead within the economy. As demonstration of action at ground zero, the CII Foundation Women Exemplar Program works through its network of over 200 grassroots leaders, reaching out to over 1 million women from vulnerable sections of society, providing them a better quality of life through access to education and livelihood opportunities, including widows and single women. Building on this empowerment mission, we have been partnering with the Loomba Foundation to advocate for and strengthen the ecosystem for widows. To the women who are here today, I want to say you are not alone. You are seen, you are valued, and your strength inspires us all. As you keep taking steps toward newer, brighter possibilities, know that an entire community stands behind you. Most importantly, CII stands behind you. Thank you.
To all of you from where I sit, respected members of the dais and dear friends, आई थिंक आप सभी लोग को हिंदी, मोस्टली लोगों को हिंदी समझ आती है, तो मैं हिंदी में आपसे बात करना चाहूँगी। मैं एक विषय के बारे में आपको बताना चाहती हूँ जो शायद मेरी ज़िंदगी में मुझे सिखाया है। सुगम्यता बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट एक चीज़ है, स्पेशली औरतों के लिए। हम महिलाएं उससे डायरेक्टली इम्पैक्ट होती हैं। इतना अच्छा काम कर रही है लूम्बा फाउंडेशन, और हमारे बीच हैं सुलभ शौचालय जी की बहू। ये एक बहुत सही मौका है इस सब्जेक्ट के बारे में बात करने का। महिलाएं केयर गिवर्स भी होती हैं, उनकी जिम्मेदारी होती है बच्चों को देखना, और ज़रूरी नहीं है सुगम्यता, ये शब्द बड़ा कठिन होता है कई बार समझने के लिए। मेरे हिसाब से अपनी सुरक्षा और सुविधा से अपनी मंजिल तक पहुंचने को सुगम्यता कहते हैं। सुगम्यता एक वो चीज़ है हमारी ज़िंदगी में नमक का काम करती है। नमक की कमी फील होती है, पर वो बहुत ज़रूरी नहीं होती। लोग बिना नमक के भी खाना खाते हैं। सुगम्यता से हमें एक दूसरे के चलने के लिए, डिग्निटी के लिए बहुत बहुत ज़रूरी है। बाथरूम हमारे लिए, टॉयलेट्स एक बहुत इंटीग्रल पार्ट होते हैं जहाँ पे हम सुगम्यता को छोड़ देते हैं। अगर वो सुगम्य हुए तो हमारे बीच जितने भी कम गतिशील लोग हैं उनके लिए डिग्निटी ऑटोमेटिकली इसके साथ जुड़ जाती है। हम महिलाएं जब काम करने को जाती हैं तो सुगम्यता एक बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट कड़ी बन जाती है, जिसकी वजह से हम अपनी ज़िंदगी, रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी अपनी चॉइस से जी सकते हैं, अपनी मर्जी से अपने काम करने की जगह आ जा सकते हैं बिना कोई और आदमी की मदद से। कम गतिशील हुए तो क्या हुआ, अगर आपके पास हौसला और जज्बा है आप अपनी मंजिल को पहुंच जाएंगे। लेकिन अगर सुगम्यता मिले तो बहुत आसानी से, डिग्निटी से आप वो चीज़ को, वो सफ़र को आप तय कर पाएंगे। हमारे पैसे कमाने के लिए ही हमारे पास इज्जत आती है, बिना पैसे का कोई इज्जत नहीं होती। पर अपने आप अपने घरों से निकलकर काम की जगह पे जाकर अगर हम इज्जत से अपना काम करवा सके और कर सके, उसमें एक बहुत बड़ा योगदान होता है सम्मिलित समाज का संरचना में। मैं इसकी जीती जागती मिसाल हूँ। मेरे पेरेंट्स ने सोचा कि मेरे अंदर भी कुछ प्रतिभा होगी, मैं भी कुछ करके दिखा सकती हूँ, तो मेरे लिए थोड़ी चीज़ें सुगम्य करी जाए। उसी की वजह से आज आप लोगों के बीच में खड़े होकर हौसला बुलंद करके ये मैं कह सकती हूँ कि सुगम्यता एक बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है हर कम गतिशील आदमी के लिए या औरत के लिए। आज हम सब अपनी अपनी ज़िंदगी सुधारने की बात कह रहे हैं। अगर इसमें सुगम्यता का नमक मिला दिया जाए तो हमारी ज़िंदगी बहुत ही मज़े से कट सकती है। और इस विषय के ऊपर हम लोगों ने काफ़ी काम किया है। पिछले 25 सालों में हमने गांव भी गए। हम 14 स्टेट्स 135 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स को हमने टच किया, जहां पर रूरल इंडिया में भी गांव जाके भी ये बात करी कि कैसे सुगम्य शौचालय होने से आपकी ज़िंदगी और बेहतर होती है, कैसे जो औरतों को केयर गिविंग करनी पड़ती है उनकी ज़िंदगी भी और बेहतर हो सकती है। आशा करती हूँ कि इस सब्जेक्ट के बारे में मैंने सरलता से आप लोगों को कुछ बताया और ये उम्मीद रखती हूँ कि आज हमारे बीच जो भी लोग बैठे हैं सुगम्यता को एक चांस दें, ताकि आपके आसपास ज़िंदगी और अच्छी और खूबसूरत हो सकती है। क्योंकि मुझे पता है महिलाएं जब कम गतिशील होती है उनकी आवाज़ और दब जाती है, लेकिन जब हमारे पास इकोनॉमिक अपॉर्चुनिटी आती है और सुगम्यता हमें मिलती है, सब जगह शौचालय से लेके रास्तों से लेके ट्रांसपोर्ट तक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बदलने की देरी है, हम अपनी मंजिल ज़रूर पा लेंगे क्योंकि हमें हौसला तो है। धन्यवाद।
As a patron of the Loomba Foundation on the occasion of the 16th United Nations International Widows Day. Before we discuss statistics, I invite you to picture a woman whose life changed instantly or overnight. A young wife loses her husband. Unexpectedly, she may have little formal education, young children depending on her, no independent source of income, no bank account, and limited experience in dealing with financial and legal matters. At a time when she is grieving, she has also to face uncertainty, social isolation, discrimination, and even the loss of assets and benefits that should rightfully support her family. Sadly, this is not a rare story. It happens every day in every part of the world. Many years ago, a young boy, 10 years old, witnessed a similar experience when his own mother became widow at the age of 37. That boy was Lord Raj Loomba. He saw firsthand some of the hardships, stigma, and vulnerability that widowhood can bring. Many people witness injustice. Few dedicate their lives to change it. Lord Raj Loomba chose to act. In 1997, together with Lady Veena Loomba, he established the Loomba Foundation in memory of his mother. What began as a deeply personal commitment to it has grown as a global movement dedicated to restoring dignity, opportunity, and hope for the women, especially the widows and the children. Today, the Loomba Foundation is a United Nations accredited charity and one of the world's leading advocates for women widow rights. Among its most significant achievement was the successful campaign for United Nations, as Mr. Blair was saying here, to officially recognize today, the June 23rd, as International Widows Day, ensuring the voices of widows would no longer be remain unheard. Yet, a lot more has to be done. The global and national statistics on widowhood reveal a profound, often overlooked human rights and economic crisis. Because women generally have a higher life expectancy and tend to marry older men, widowhood is overwhelming a gendered experience, frequently referred to demographics as feminization of widowhood. Today, more than 258 million widows live all around the globe, caring for approximately 585 million children. Nearly 38 million widows live in extreme poverty. Many continue to face discrimination, social exclusion, economic insecurity, limited access to healthcare and education, and the denial of poverty and inheritance rights. In India alone, there are estimated 46 million widows. While tremendous progress has been done over the years, many still struggle against social stigma and loneliness and the hardships. When a widow suffers, so does her children. They often suffer with her, creating a cycle of poverty that can last generations. We are lucky today. The girls of today, I would say, not equally, even better educated than our boys. But the problem is largely a rural issue as well, not only in India, but across the nation. Change is progressing, though it faces heavy social friction. The Indian government has expanded targeted interventions, including specialized widow pensions under the National Savings Assistance Program. Legal mandates ensuring a widow's name is written on the death certificate of the husband so that the property transfers can be seamless. And then there are some priority on the employment allocations in the rural schemes, Manrega, etc. as well. However, the grassroots human rights organization emphasize that economic aid alone cannot solve the problem without a concurrent overhaulment of the social stigmas around the widowhood that has been going on for generations. This is why the work of Loomba Foundation is so important. Over the years, the foundation has provided education scholarships to more than 10,000 children of poor widows, giving them the opportunity to build better futures through education. It has empowered 20,000 widows through vocational training, entrepreneurship programs, and livelihood updates, and enabled women to become financially independent and self-reliant. While a widow is being trained, Loomba Foundation takes care of her child's needs and education. Most recently, the foundation launched an ambitious initiative to empower 100,000 widows and dependent youth in the rural India by 2030 through the skill development, employment opportunities, mentoring, and entrepreneurship support. The philosophy behind this effort is yet simple and yet profound. When a widow is empowered, a family is strengthened. When a family is strengthened, a community is transformed. Throughout my career in business and philanthropy, I have learned that success is not measured solely through what we achieve, but for ourselves. Its true measure lies in the lives we touch, the opportunities we create, and the hope we inspire in others. That is why I am proud to support the Loomba Foundation. I am deeply grateful to Lord Loomba for allowing me to be part of this remarkable journey and for demonstrating how one's personal compassion and determination can improve the life of thousands of people. Today I ask each of you to join us in this endeavor. Whether through advocacy, partnership, volunteering, mentorship, or financial support, every contribution matters. Every action helps restore dignity, independence, and opportunity to widows and their families. Let us work together to build a world where widowhood is no longer means of vulnerability, exclusion, or poverty. A world where widow is treated with the same dignity, respect, and equal opportunity. Please start with no discrimination during our cultural, social, and especially the wedding occasions. Too often you might have seen when a wedding is happening, the priest or the people would say, let the married women come and bless the couple. No, we are seeking blessings. We are seeking blessings whether the person is single, married, or widowed. Let's start the change with all of us who are sitting here. If at all there was something happened, it was not the mistake of the girl. It was the person, it was the husband who left, unfortunately, and she's left with all the work. So माता जी, हमें किसी भी समय पे अपने आप को दोषी करार देने की जरूरत नहीं है. भगवान की नियति से वो चले गए, पर हमें तो पूरे सम्मान के साथ जीना है. To summarize, when we empower widows, we do more than the change of the individual. We strengthen families, uplift communities, and create more just a compassionate world. Thank you for my words, but there is one thing very important going on simultaneously today. Today, at this time, today in London, we are doing a universal declaration of women or widows' rights. In this, we have 10 articles, and I'll just briefly say the headlines of those articles, all those 10 articles. Equality, dignity and respect, freedom from harm, home property and inheritance, economic independence, personal freedom and family life, health and well-being, voice participation and contribution, recognition and protection, responsibility. These are the 10 articles in this Universal Declaration of Widows' Rights, and that's a great work under the leadership of Lord Raj Loomba. This has happened. Thank you for all being part of it, some beneficiaries, and thank you for supporting in many ways through CIA and CSR and being here. Thank you.
Branch Indian Army to kindly deliver the keynote address, please.
Good evening, respected dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. सामने बैठे सभी वीर नारियों को, वीरांगनाओं को मेरा नमस्कार। मैं इंडियन आर्मी से हूँ और मुझे 20 मिनट का टाइम दिया गया है आपको ये बताने के लिए कि इंडियन आर्मी में एक डिफेंस फोर्सेस के पर्सपेक्टिव से हम वीर नारियों को, वीरांगनाओं को, विडोज़ को और उनके वेलफेयर को किस तरीके से देखते हैं। So basically my job of the day was to give you a perspective of what we do in the Indian Army for our widows and our brave women. We call them Veer Naris and Veeranganas. They are basically, the translation is brave women. जैसा कि आपको पता है, एक सोल्जर जो है जब वो बॉर्डर के ऊपर जाता है तो वो एक प्लेज लेके जाता है, एक शपथ लेके जाता है। वो ये कहता है कि मैं मुश्किल वक्त में दुश्मन के सामने जब खड़ा होऊंगा तो मैं अपने परिवार के बारे में सोचे बिना अगर मेरी जान देने की ज़रूरत पड़ती है तो मैं अपनी जान भी निछावर करूंगा। ये वो शपथ लेता है। So this one part I think I should translate both ways. So maybe for you ma'am, because probably Hindi would be a challenge. So when a soldier goes to the border, he takes a pledge. And he says that I will unflinchingly give up my life, if required, to defend my country. And he does that because he goes with the quiet confidence that his loved ones will be looked after if he goes away. तो वो ये कसम क्यों खाता है? वो कसम इसलिए खाता है क्योंकि उसे विश्वास है कि उसके जाने के बाद उसकी पत्नी, उसके बच्चों और उसके पेरेंट्स को लुक आफ्टर करने के लिए कोई पीछे होगा और वो उनको लुक आफ्टर करेंगे। तो इसलिए ये हमारी जिम्मेवारी बनती है कि हम जिस तरीके उससे उस सोल्जर ने अपना शपथ पूरा किया है, हम भी अपनी शपथ को पूरा करें। It's our responsibility to fulfill our part of the promise because he has fulfilled his part of the promise. So that is the reason why we lay a lot of emphasis on looking after our widows, looking after the parents and looking after the children after the soldier has gone, because people will remember the soldier for some time. People do not remember and do not fully appreciate the challenges that the family faces after the soldier has gone. After the soldier goes away, there are some perks, privileges. There is a pension which the government gives to him, gives to his family rather. But still, money is not everything. Like you all have spoken, there is an element of dignity. There is an element of self-respect. And then there is always a requirement of something more in life. Each one of these families, each one of these children, they aspire for a future, a bright future for themselves. And unless there is an ecosystem which looks after these requirements, I think we would all have been failing in our duties. So we all need to contribute. Actually, in the defense forces, people lose their lives in various situations. Sometimes these lives are lost due to operational reasons when you are facing the enemy. But there could be many other reasons. There could be terrain related reasons, there could be climatic reasons, there could be accidents, there could be loss of life due to handling of explosives and firearms. There are various categories in which a person could lose his life. There could be health related issues. People have prolonged tenures in high altitude. Those could affect health, and one could lose his life. Unfortunately, the classification of a casualty also determines the kind of benefits that the families get. If you lose your life when you are in contact with the enemy, the privileges and the perks, the pensions are a little different, and otherwise they would be a little different. However, I may also add that we in the army do not distinguish between these two categories that the government looks at it. We consider that anybody who has made the sacrifice, supreme sacrifice of his life, his family needs to be looked after in exactly the same manner as any other family who would lose their life in a war, in a hostile situation. So there are various measures, there are various schemes, there are various initiatives, there are various small organizations set up by us. There are army sponsored or army supported NGOs which are working to look after various aspects of these Veer Naris and Veeranganas, their children, and even their parents. We have a very famous NGO which is called the Army Wives Welfare Association. It looks after almost every aspect of the widow's life. It provides support basically deriving from donations and CSR from our patrons in the industry, from the public at large, and they take many steps, and there are many initiatives that they do basically to look after the Veer Naris and Veeranganas. Apart from that, there is an organization called the Army Welfare Placement Organization, which works to provide job opportunities to these women, to empower them, not only to the women, even to their children. We have an Army Welfare Education Society, which runs schools and colleges. Of course, it is not primarily for the widows, it is for the larger community, but it focuses a lot of its efforts on looking after the widows and their children also. There is an organization called the Directorate of Indian Army Veterans, which has many schemes which look after widows and their families. There is a Veerangana Sahayata Kendra, which is a one-stop solution, one-stop window where all grievances of widows and Veer Naris are looked at, solutions are provided, and it is very widely subscribed. People are coming up in large numbers and their problems are being solved also. So there are many other activities. We are not only looking at the Veer Naris, we are also looking at specially abled children. There is an organization, or rather there are a large number of schools which we call Asha schools, which are looking after special children. We have got early intervention centers which provide the intervention to these children up to the ages of 5. From 5 onwards up to 18, it is the Asha schools which look after these children. And from 18 onwards, there is another fully boarding school which is looking after children of this variety. So we are looking at specially abled children. We are looking at, we have palliative care centers to provide assistance to people who have reached the terminal stages of their lives. Talking also about education, we have some initiatives wherein we provide coaching to children. We provide scholarships to children. People who have got some talent, we provide them, we sponsor them for sporting activities, and some of them have excelled actually at the national level. Some have participated at the international level also. So these are some of the various initiatives that we are taking basically to help the Veer Naris, the Veeranganas, to make their life better. Of course, all our efforts will not suffice. There are many challenges. There is always a dearth of resources. So we always look out to, some donors from the industry. We have a large number of patriotic, citizens who donate money for such causes. All of these efforts put together, of course, the government is doing its bit. The Indian Army itself contributes largely to these initiatives, and all these efforts are being, directed towards these Veer Naris, Veeranganas, their children, and the ex-servicemen community at large. So this is broadly what we do. We pay respect to our soldiers, but in equal measure we pay respect to these women who have been the force, or who have been the support base for our soldiers to fight on the borders. When we look after these women, it is our firm belief that when we look after these women, actually we are looking after our soldier, because the soldier is able to take the decision, follow the orders, do the right thing at the right time in the call of duty, only because these women are standing behind them and supporting them. When we look after the Veer Naris, we look after our soldiers, and accordingly, as a corollary, we are looking after the security of our nation. National security and prosperity go hand in hand. So basically, we all are contributing towards national development. I think it's an onerous job. We must put all our strength to looking after the Veer Naris, looking after the widows, not only in the Indian Army, but yes, all across the country, internationally. Thank you for your contribution.
राधे राधे। मैं गुवाहाटी से आया। मेरा नाम सभी शर्मा। मैं वृंदावन रहने वाली हूँ। मैं माँ शारदा विद्या आश्रम से मैं आया। जब मैं एक बार मैं घूमने आया वृंदावन में, आके देख रहा वृंदावन इतना सुंदर जगह, तो मैं उसी टाइम मैं सोच लिया आज मैं तो वृंदावन में मैं ठान ले लूँगी। मेरा छोटा सा परिवार है। एक लड़का था, वो तो गुजर गया। मेरा पति वो गुजर गया, तो मुझे कौन देखभाल करेंगे। ठीक है, मैं वृंदावन चला आके देखा मैं डॉक्टर बिंदेश्वर पाठक हमारा भगवान। डॉक्टर बिंदेश्वर पाठक एक दिन अचानक हमारा घर में आया, आश्रम में आया, आके बोल रहा तुमको हम गोद लेंगे। तब इतना खुशी का बात बोल रहे हैं आप लोग, क्या देंगे हमको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, आपका आशीर्वाद चाहिए और कुछ नहीं चाहिए। कहीं नहीं माँ, तुमको हम देखेंगे पालेंगे। तूने तो हमको इतना जगह घुमाया, हम वो भी सपने में हम नहीं सोचा जितना जगह हम जाएंगे घूमने के लिए। प्लेन में से हमको घुमाया, पटना, पुणे, बॉम्बे, उज्जैनी, क्षिप्रा नदी में नहाया, कुंभ में, इलाहाबाद नहाया हमको कुंभ में, बिहार, सोनपुर। मैंने क्या बताऊं, इतना दिन का बात एक सेकंड में बताने नहीं सकेंगे। फिर राखी आ गया, रक्षाबंधन आ गया। प्रणब मुखर्जी हाथ में राखी बांध लिया, फिर डॉक्टर मोदी भैया के हाथ में राखी बांध लिया। और डॉक्टर बिंदु हाथ में तो राखी कितना बांधा दो तो बोलना नहीं है। और इस बार नित्ता भाभी ने मेरा आ गया, मेरा भाव देवी जी में मेरा आ गया, उसको साथ में मेरा दिलीप कुमार भैया है। दिलीप कुमार भैया में हाथ में राखी बांध के इतना मन में आनंद आ गया, जाने बाबा नहीं था तो क्या हो गया, भैया भाभी तो है ना, भैया भाभी हम लोग दक्षिण पढ़ेंगे। हम भगवान का पास इतना प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं हम, हे भगवान मेरा भैया को और भाभी को बहुत बहुत उम्र देना, बहुत बहुत आशीर्वाद देना, यही प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं। तो बाबा ने तो हमको 2000 रुपया दिया, भैया ने हमको फिर 1000 रुपया दिया, 3000 रुपया हो गया। तो हमारा आनंद क्या कहाँ रहेंगे, हमारा हम बहुत खुश हूँ, हम लोग बहुत खुश हूँ। थैंक यू, धन्यवाद।
सबको नमस्ते। 4 साल पहले मेरे घरवाली इधर से बोलता हूँ, 4 साल पहले मेरी घरवाली खत्म हो गई थी। मेरी लाइफ में बहुत परेशानी थी और उसके बाद मेरी लाइफ में बहुत परेशानी थी। उसके बाद फिर मेरा बेटा भी ख़त्म हो गया। फिर मैंने मतलब सिलाई सीखी थी लोमा फाउंडेशन में 45 दिन। उसके बाद फिर मैंने मेरे घर में मतलब काम आता सिलाई का, मैं उसी से अपना घर खर्चा चलाती हूँ। मेरी लाइफ में बहुत परेशानी थी, अब थोड़ा मेरे को सही लगता है, लेकिन मैं उसी से अपना घर खर्चा चला रही हूँ। मेरा हस्बैंड भी ख़त्म हो गया और मेरा एक बेटा था वो भी ख़त्म हो गया। अब मैं अकेली हूँ, मैं अपना सिलाई करती हूँ, घर खर्चा अपना चलाती हूँ, बस इतना ही और कुछ नहीं। बहुत परेशान हूँ मैं इस टाइम, बस इतना ही और क्या, बस बहुत परेशान हूँ मैं अपनी मतलब मेरी लाइफ में बहुत परेशानी है। मैं अब इस दुनिया में बस अकेली हूँ, मेरा कोई नहीं है। बस हिम्मत रख रखी, भगवान पे भरोसा है।
आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। मेरा नाम नीलम है, मैं दिल्ली से हूँ। मेरे 5 साल पहले मेरे हस्बैंड की डेथ हो गई थी। मेरे ससुराल वालों ने कोई सपोर्ट नहीं किया। मैं अपने मायके आके रहने लगी। मेरे मायके की परिस्थितियाँ कुछ ठीक नहीं थी। कुछ ही साल बाद मेरे पापा एक्सपायर हो गए। ना मेरे पास कोई स्किल थी, ना ही मैंने कुछ ज़्यादा पढ़ाई की थी। इस वजह से मुझे थोड़ा जॉब की भी दिक्कत हो गई। अब मेरे बच्चे इतने छोटे हैं कि मैं बाहर कहीं जॉब नहीं कर सकती थी। फिर मैंने कहीं सिलाई के लिए पता किया, वो बहुत महंगा कोर्स था। फिर मुझे किसी से पता चला कि लुम्बा फाउंडेशन फ्री ऑफ कोर्स करवाते हैं 45 दिन का। तो मैंने वो कोर्स किया और बहुत अच्छे वहाँ के टीचर थे, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा सपोर्ट किया, बहुत अच्छे से सिखाया। और मैंने वहाँ पे सिलाई सीखकर अपना घर में सिलाई करती हूँ, अपना घर खर्चा चलाती हूँ और अपने फैमिली को भी सपोर्ट करती हूँ। मैं दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ लुम्बा फाउंडेशन का और आप सभी का धन्यवाद।
Council for the collaboration and support in making this event possible. Finally, I thank each one of you in the audience, team members of the British Council, CII Foundation, AWGADI and press media team for your presence, support and encouragement. Together, we can continue to build a world where widows and their families live with dignity, opportunity and hope. Together, we are a force for widows' welfare. विधवा की आंखों में सपने की चमक, जीवन की राहों में संघर्ष की झलक। समाज ने जो दी दीवारें और ताले, आज हम तोड़ेंगे वो बंधन के जाले। न्याय की किरण हर दिल तक पहुँचे, गरिमा का सूरज हर जीवन में बहे। सशक्तिकरण की गूंज उठे हर गली, अब कोई माँ ना रहे अकेली। संघर्ष की कहानियाँ बने प्रेरणा का गीत, आशा की धुन में मिले नया संगीत। हम होंगे कामयाब, ये विश्वास है, हर विधवा का जीवन अब खास है। थैंक यू एंड वी लुक फॉरवर्ड टू योर कंटिन्यूड सपोर्ट। प्लीज जॉइन अस फॉर डिनर। थैंक यू।